All right, everyone, this is Asylum, the I-589 form workshop, step by step. The team members on this for the English, we have Brother Michael Sharon, Dari, Mr. Ahmad Farid Nouri, and Pashto Ahmad Shah Aryan. This PowerPoint was created by Brother Michael with assistance from the other Fort McCoy, OAW, USCCB legal clinic staff and volunteers. The staff members include Sahar Taban, Lindsay King, Allison Tabor, Amy Cratch, Michael Sharon, as well as a multitude of volunteer immigration attorneys. Welcome to the United States of America. We're happy you're here. Inshallah, you will become a permanent resident soon. The fact that you are here watching this I-589 Asylum Workshop video means you are well on your way. If you'd like, you can look at these State Department videos, which gives you an introduction to asylum. You'll see there's an English, a Dari, and a Pashto version. This workshop includes an introduction, which we're doing now, Part A, which is the form, which is about you, your family, and your background. Then we'll work on the declaration or your statement. And then Part C is a continuation of your declaration or statement. Part D will return to the form. And then Part E is really about the preparers and the copies that you need. We do not intend to help you complete the entire application at this time. We are not representing you as your attorney or accredited rep. We are providing information that we have to the best of our knowledge. Laws and policies may change. Who should be at this workshop? Anyone who has the asylum option because they do not have other pathways to permanent residency or green card status. But if you think you have another pathway, for example SIV, you should also start your asylum application because you may be refused SIV. When to apply? You must submit your application within 1 year from your date of entry into the U.S. Many of you, if this would be late August or early September. Add reminders on your phone so as not to miss the deadline. If you're applying after 1 year, you will need to explain why, which will be challenging. The purpose of this workshop is to get started, not finished, on this application. We are only doing a first draft. You will learn what information is needed. If you do not have the information, you can start collecting information, such as employment history and schools attended. Get a lawyer or accredited rep. You will need to get legal assistance. Find an attorney or accredited immigration representative once you get to your new home. You can hire one, find one who charges discounted fees, or even one that will not charge you at all. Your resettlement agency is required to assist you in finding legal help. We will go through the form page by page to make sure everyone understands what these questions are asking and especially how to answer them. The I-589 is for claiming asylum. Asylum is a protection granted to foreign nationals already in the United States who meet the international law definition of a refugee. The United Nations defines a refugee as a person who is unable or unwilling to return to his or her home country and cannot obtain protection in that country due to past persecution or a well-founded fear of being persecuted in the future on account of race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. You may have a double-sided form because we wanted to save paper on a draft. However, a final application must be in English and one-sided. The final form must be typed or written in black ink. Here is a website where you can get a link to the Dari and Pashto form translations. Use these translations to help you fill out the English application. Do not submit these translations as your actual application. And just be aware there's some issues with these translations. So use them as help, but don't get too bogged down in the details. The number of forms you need is 1 form per family, but we encourage both spouses, the husband and the wife, to both apply as a principal applicant and list the other spouse plus all the children. This way you will have 2 chances at asylum, not just 1. Also, women may get asylum in the U.S. more easily than men because of the Taliban's views about women. Use the latest version. Forms are created by the USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. This is the government agency you'll be in contact with throughout your immigration process. The current form is dated August 25th, 2020, and expires on July 31st, 2022. When you're ready to submit your final document, make sure to get the latest version from the USCIS website. If you do not, your application will be rejected. Remember, you must notify USCIS of any address change, so you will receive any letter USCIS sends to you. You can find the form AR11 at this link. You must change your address generally with the USCIS, but also on this specific form. Remember, be honest. Lying, even the most inconsequential lie, can hurt your case. Now we will start talking about the form. The first thing is there's a box at the top of the form which asks you if you want to apply for the Convention Against Torture. We would like you to talk to your attorney about checking this box. The UN, the United Nations, does not allow travel under Convention Against Torture, but the U.S. Congress does. Talk to your attorney about your travel plans for the future. Now we'll talk about you. The first thing we need is an alien registration number, or A number. All have A numbers, you and all your family members. Your A number is important. It's something that you will have for the rest of your life. Memorize it. An A number is on your EAD card, which is the USCIS number, or your work permit receipt, the top right side above your name. Here is the USCIS number on your EAD card in the circle, and your A number on your EAD receipt. Question 2 is about your Social Security number. When you applied for your EAD, you also applied for a Social Security number. You may have received your Social Security card, but most probably have not, depending on when you're watching this video. If not, keep the space blank and make a reminder to complete it when you get to your new home. Number 3, the USCIS online account number. You have to sign up for this. Most of you probably have not. If not, keep it blank and make a reminder to complete it later. You have to sign up to get this number. We should talk about not applicable. Use NA in every box where you do not have any information, or unknown if you do not know. When questions do not apply to your situation, you should write NA, meaning not applicable. But if the question does apply to you and you are unable to answer, write unknown. Names. People often get confused about the order of their name because not all cultures and countries put the name in the same order as the United States. Your Afghan passport has last name or surname and then first name or given name. Your Tazkira has your first name in regular letters and your surname or family name or last name in all capital letters. Your name is also on your EAD receipt. Your name is also on your EAD card with your surname first and then your first name or given name second. In this form, you're asked to put your last name, then your first name, then your middle name. Other forms may be different. Make sure you know what is being asked. Your last name, surname, or family name could be Amiri. Sometimes you have a double or even a triple last name, like Suleiman Keel or Javed Ibrahim Keel. Your first name or given name could be Malik. You may have a double first name. For instance, a man may be Muhammad Aziz, or a woman may be Bibi Khurshid. In the U.S., middle names are not used widely. When asked, you usually enter your middle initial. For instance, Malik Youssef Amiri, or, more likely, Malik Y. Amiri. To be called by your double name, write your double name as your first name. Otherwise, you might have problems. Let's say they have two children named Ali Akbar and Ali Asghar. If you only use Ali as the first name for each of these children, they will both be known as Ali Sawari. It will not. What you want to do is use the first name Ali Akbar and the first name Ali Asghar, both as double names, to avoid confusion. Question 7. If you have used other names, including special family names, you can list them here. But if not, just put NA. Question 8. Your street address is an official physical address. It can only be written one way. Memorize it. For example, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 346 Mustard Street, Chetek, Wisconsin, 55673. Sometimes an address is only a mailing address, but not a physical address. For instance, another additional address, or more commonly, a post office box. This is where you go to the post office and get your mail. In care of is only used when you are sending an address where another person lives, who will receive your mail on your behalf. They do not open it because you are the recipient. A street address consists of the number of the building or home, the name of the street, the street type, for instance, street, road, or avenue, and the apartment, unit, or floor number. Apartment or unit or floor number is used when there are more than one living space in a specific building. A city can be one word or more than one word, for instance, Los Angeles or New York, Fremont or Arlington. A state is one of the 50 United States or Washington, D.C. Zip code is a 5-digit number the post office uses to deliver mail. For question 10, you have two choices, male or female. If gender or gender identity is relevant to your case, please include this in your statement. Discuss this with your attorney or accredited rep. You will likely also talk about it during your interview. Your marital status. Select one. Married, single, divorced, or widowed. Marriage in the U.S. is married. An engaged person is not married in the U.S. United States dates are written month, day, year. Most of the world uses day, month, year. It is important that your dates are in United States format. The current year is 2022. When the form asks you, sometimes they ask you for the month, the day, and the year in 4 digits. Sometimes they ask you just for the month and the year in 4 digits. And sometimes they ask you just for the month and the year in 2 digits. Just watch the form and be aware what's being asked. Your date of birth. If you believe your birth date is incorrect on your documents, you need a birth certificate or other documents that can support your claim. Your city or country of birth. If one of your documents has an incorrect city, region, or province, write your actual one. You can explain it at your interview. Just because a mistake was made on a document does not mean that where you were born has suddenly changed. Your present nationality or citizenship. Most likely, you should all be citizens of Afghanistan. But if not, put down your present nationality. Your nationality at birth. Put down the nation in which you were a citizen when you were born. Again, likely Afghanistan. But if you were not born an Afghan citizen, write down your citizenship when you were born. Race, ethnicity, or tribal group. This question is easy for some, but may be difficult for others. If you struggle to understand your identity, write what you identify with. Your identity is important because many asylum claims are based on one's racial or ethnic identity and how your identity may bring about the persecution you claim to suffer. If you are unsure about your identity, that is a perfectly fine response. Examples for Afghanistan are Pashtun, Tajik, Uzbek, Hazara, Sadat, Turkmen, Nuristani, Pashtai, Pamiri, Sikh, Hindu, Keats, Arab, Gujar, Mohol, Mughal, Omer, Waki, Dards, etc., etc. Your religion. Write whatever you consider your religion to be. You can say Islam, or you can be more specific, Islam Shia or Islam Sunni. You can also say Buddhist, Christian, or even no religion. Immigration court proceedings. No one has been in immigration court proceedings. If you were, you would know it. Therefore, the right thing to check on this form is letter A. I have never been in immigration court proceedings. Questions 19A through C requires you to find your I-94 information. An I-94 is a record of all your entries into and exits out of the United States. You may be wondering, how do I find my I-94 information? One way is to use the internet. The other way is to use the facial recognition app CBP1. Here's an example of what CBP1 looks like. Search for it on your Play Store or your iPhone store. You can also search the internet. Look for I-94 results page or the I-94 official website. Then click Get Most Recent I-94. Fill in your information, your name, birth date, passport number, and Afghanistan. If you don't have a passport, then use your Tazkira number. If you don't have a passport or a Tazkira, use your A number. This is what your results page will look like. Question 19A is straightforward. When did you last leave your country? You should know this date. This is the date that you got on the plane in Afghanistan. Write your I-94 record, your I-94 number in section B. Note that number is at the top of your I-94 results page. Then you want to put in the date you arrived in the United States. For this person, it was September the 1st, 2021. You want to put in the place as Washington, D.C., Dulles Airport. Your status is OAR. See the yellow arrow? It's pointing to OAR, which means Operation Allies Rescue. Finally, you have the date your status expires. That is the admit until date. For this person, it's August 31st, 2023. What country issued your last passport or your Tazkira? Most likely it will be Afghanistan. Put that in number 20. Put your passport number in the box next to 21. Again, if you have no passport, then use a Tazkira. If you don't have a passport or a Tazkira, then use your A number. Note, you do not have a travel document number, so nothing is needed in this part. For 22, you want to put the expiration date of your passport. Even if the passport is expired, write that date. Your Tazkira or A number will not have an expiration date, so put NA. Question 23 asks about your native language. Some people grew up with more than one native language. Write the one with which you are most comfortable. If your native language has specific dialects, indicate that here. The reason this is so important is because the Asylum Office is going to be relying on this information to conduct the interview. Fluency in English. Fluency means the ability to speak or write a foreign language easily and accurately. Also, the ability to express oneself easily and accurately. There is only yes or no. There is no kind of. Check what feels right to you, but do not be embarrassed to say no if you are not fully fluent in English. One of the risks of saying you are fluent in English is there may not be an interpreter in your interview. 25 asks about other languages. Add any other languages you can speak fluently and without trouble here. At the end of the page, you don't have to do anything. This is for office use only. There is no need to write anything in here. Now we will talk about part 2, your spouse and your children. First of all, there's a difference between listing your family members and including your family members on the app. Listing is for information only. You will list all of your family members. Including means they are applying with you as well. Not all of your family members that you list will likely be applying with you. Questions 21 through 24 are about your spouse. Make sure to put your spouse's information here, not yours. Again, engagement is not marriage in the U.S. Engagement means single in the U.S. You need to include your marriage certificate. If it's only in Pashto or Dari, you'll need an English translation. If you do not have a marriage certificate, you can get secondary evidence. Ask 2 other people for sworn affidavits. Date and place of marriage are important. The date and place on the application must match the date and place on your marriage certificate or the date and place that your people who give sworn affidavits say. So you put, if you're not married, check the box that says I am not married. If you are married, put your wife's A number, passport number, date of birth, social security number, last name, first name, middle name, other names. You want to put your wife's information or your husband's information here. You put your date of marriage and the place of marriage, the city and country of your spouse's birth, your spouse's nationality or citizenship, your spouse's race, ethnic or tribal group, your spouse's gender. 15 is an important question. Is this person in the United States? If yes, complete block 1624. If no, tell everybody where the person is in the world. If they're in the U.S., you put your place of last entry into the U.S., your date of last entry into the U.S., your spouse's I-94 number, your spouse's status when they were last admitted, your spouse's current status, the expiration date of your spouse's stay. This is all information you get from your I-94. Is your spouse in immigration court proceedings? Likely no. If previously in the U.S., your date of arrival, this will probably be NA. Finally, number 24, if in the U.S., is your spouse to be included in this application? You can say yes or no. More likely, you will say yes. Remember, it is often helpful for spouses to apply separately. Talk to your attorney or accredited legal rep about the advantages and disadvantages of filing separately or together. Now we move to the children. If you do not have children, you can just click the box that says I do not have children and move on to part 3. If you do have children, write the number of children here. Put all the children's information in this box. Your child's A number, your child's passport, your child's marital status, etc. Again, is this child in the U.S.? Yes or no? If not, tell where the child is. Get your child's I-94 and put the child's I-94 information in the relevant boxes. Note, there is only room for 4 children on the application. If you have more than 4 children, include the rest of the children on Supplement A. You may attach as many Supplement A's as you need. Use the child's I-94 information. If under 21, they can be included. If over 21, they cannot. The over 21 child can fill out his or her own asylum application. Note, a child with a compelling, unique situation can file for themselves if the situation is appropriate. Note, nieces and nephews. In Afghanistan, people often consider nieces and nephews their children, but this is not the case in the United States. In the U.S., only your children or legally adopted children are your children. In Afghanistan, legal adoption does not exist. In the United States, legally adopted children become children of their adopted parents. Just because you are taking care of a child does not mean they are your children according to U.S. law. Therefore, minors and unaccompanied children, maybe your nieces, nephews, or adopted children, can file for asylum on their own if their parents are not here. If this applies to you, talk to your attorney or accredited rep. An unaccompanied minor's application will be added with your application. You will ask USCIS to keep the applications together on the cover letter and ask to be interviewed together. Part 3. Your background. Your background includes the homes where you live, the schools where you went to school, the jobs you had, and your family members. Questions 1 and 2 deal with your addresses. I like to start with number 2. Put your new address in the first line. Put your address at Fort McCoy in the second line. Put your last address in Afghanistan in the third line. And put any previous addresses going back 5 years. You need to make sure that you get 5 years. A province is enough for you non-U.S. addresses. A province is like a U.S. state. For instance, the Balkh province in Afghanistan. The city would be Anomina. The province is Kandahar. The country is Afghanistan. Anomina, Kandahar, Afghanistan. Schooling. Write down all the schooling you received. There is no time limit here. You can go back as far as possible. So in this case, this person went to the University of Kandahar. Before that, they went to the Anomina High School. Before that, they went to Muhammad Ali Middle School. And before that, they went to Ali Akbar Elementary School. Your employment history. Your occupation can be general, a teacher, an engineer, construction, plumber, carpenter, etc. An occupation is normally a paid job. If unemployed for a period, write unemployed and list the dates. In this instance, this guy is a mechanic. He started out at Shahzadi Motors as a junior mechanic. Then he did a little better. He went to Rakim Mechanics and became a senior mechanic. And then he went to Ali Car Repair and became a transmission specialist. Make sure you go back 5 years. 5 years ago is today's date, 2017. Watch out for gaps in time. Gaps in time cause suspicion. Question 5 involves your parents and your siblings. List information about your parents and your siblings here. This does not mean that your parents and siblings are applying for asylum with you. They need to submit their own asylum applications. Half-brothers and half-sisters are included as siblings. Half-siblings share one parent. Step-brother and step-sisters are not included as siblings. Step-siblings do not share any parents. Do not include your in-laws. Only include your parents and your brothers and sisters. Supplement B. There is only so much room to write. If you need more room, include the extra information on Supplement B. Use as many Supplement Bs as you need. Again, be honest. You are saying everything in your application is true and correct. Your application and interview are under oath. There are legal consequences if you lie under oath.